Give me a moment. The cold never does any good for my bronchitis. I'm fine. Fine. Don't you worry about me. Now, what do you want from me, policeman?
She's the cleaning lady. She knows the floor plan and the residence.
I'm no one. If you can call it living. It's barely bigger than a closet. But I don't complain, no.
She hasn't spoken to anyone for a while. Even her sentences feel rusty.
Yes, I know who you mean. The scrawny boy who's always smoking like the devil, right?
Somewhere in the building, a child starts crying. You hear a radio tuned to a talk show.
What's he in trouble for? Talk?
What was so funny about that?
He lives upstairs in room 28. Go to the balcony. It's one of those doors there. He's usually home in the evening.
Thank you. We should go check out his apartment on the balcony.
Ask away, police. The artiste? Nothing I can do about her, I'm afraid. She ruins the walls faster than I can clean them. She leaves an old lady to her business. More than I can say for others.
She mumbles some kind of a response. What happened here? It will still be accessible through the apartment next to it. That indeed.
Ooh, the piggies have learned how to saunter up staircases. I didn't think you could do that with hooves. But here you are. Yeah, I can see that.
That smell coming from her paint bucket. It red-dyed heavy fuel oil.
What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank myself. Back in Jamrock. You ain't seen nothing yet, piggy boo.
Why does art inspire you so much? Excellent question. Art is a diverse range of visual, literary, auditory, and in short, art is the highest. Have you looked in the mirror lately? You have the exact features of a savage art critic. Yes, you seek substance. No vapid representations and reproductions of social mores as made manifest in stuff. Quit being so indecisive. What are you going for here? Some kind. Exactly. It's not only your duty to only catch the crew. Go ahead and provide savage. Ruination has come. The broken arches betray the once grand history of this building. A great force from the northeast fired into the city. Heavy artillery shell. The tenement acted as a defensive wall against the worst of the shelling. The waves of the Martinez Inlet roll over the fallen remains of the building. What didn't fall into the ocean was those arches acted as support for something. Only 3 stories stand where 9. A fleet. The combined armies of Occident. They massed airships further down in the Bay of Revachol. Many are still there to this day. If you squint, you can just barely see coalition warship Archer can shoot.
The coalition. But that was a long time ago. I think we should move on. It's chilly up here.
The pockets of these new jeans are perfect for sticking your hand into. Makes you look cool. Hey, it's a chewing gum wrapper. It reminds you of the fruity juice of apricots. By the way, the raw materials were most likely exported from Seaguy, the apricot suzerain. Crinkled chewing gum wrapper. The worn label. You feel compelled to point out that there's nothing fruity about cinnamon. Good question. There is no answer or secret phrase drawn by regret. Stop before you hurt yourself with a tutti frutti. Can a used wrapper shrug? Seems like that's what the wrapper is doing. You carefully fold the wrapper into a square before putting it back into... You hear someone. The walking stops abruptly. A poor communard from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet.
Do I have to open the door? Do you have a warrant? I'm not obligated.
Let's go. We don't have a reason to get in.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally... This door has been closed with a... It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. A solid pair of chain cutters would make short work of it.
You seem committed to it, so go on.
What are you doing? You're trying to cut the body of the lock with the chain cutters, and it's really...
I believe it's the shackle you need to cut, Detective. Perhaps you should give it another go.
No reply. The shackle snaps like a twig.
After you, Detective.
A plaster cast bust depicts Grazmazov Nomdegir was an economist and a theoretical historian. He was a leading figure in the Grad side of
The White Star, the photos on the wall. I think we have broken into the apartment of a young communard. How fitting. I suspect that's exactly what they are trying to do. There aren't many communists around. Not after the revolution. Whoever lives here definitely shares your enthusiasm. There aren't many communists around. Not after the revolution.
isn't just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram. The star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century and quickly adopted even today, half a century after, to symbolize the top. Also, some social the wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about because white is the color of peace. Gone is the glory of hope. Only the script. You are the big communism builder now. This door is made of metal. Number 28. This is where the cleaning lady said the
Let's see if anyone...
No one answered.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch him is... We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good? Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here. Apartment number 28.
Damn. Turns out it's quite tricky finding someone in a... Remember, tomorrow. He's probably gone for today. The tracks are as they have ever been, a bit more worn perhaps. Fortunately, this trash container is locked. Just a trash. Your fingers start to itch.
We could try using a pry bar. The one you took from my motor carriage, or... Or we could ask for a key from the manager of the Whirling in Rags.
He might also have information. This is better than the pry bar idea.
Can I help you? Mine? No, it belongs to the Whirling in Rags.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Why? To keep the hobos and drunks out. That's why. And the neighbors too.
I thought as much. And
Well, yes.
It seems a little callous, doesn't it? Something stirs in you. Prod at him and find out.
Callous? What are you? Kras Mazov? Almost all establishments in Revachol keep their trash locked. The Whirling in Rags is not special in that regard.
What are we talking about? Was this not about the trash container? We should return to the case of your mistaken identity at a later time.
What for? Mazov? Are you planning to nationalize my trash container?
It concerns the case. Please cooperate.
Just bring them back once you're done, please. Another thing. Great. Yes? Absolutely.
Absolutely in the question. Your body is ready, sire. This trash container is locked with a well-oiled crack. Don't. Maybe you shouldn't. Just a feeling. A warning from some part of you. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste.
We're just in time. This hasn't been emptied for over a week.
You see milk and egg rest with... You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows, the methodology in your fingers. No, searching for evidence. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Among the threadbare kitchen towel, as the legs of the slime-covered jeans begin to...
The victim's clothes? Cadaver in odor is faint. If these belong to the deceased, drop them in here, officer. Guitar-marked blue jeans. Pockets empty. The belt is missing.
Something slimy catches your eye. A drab, long-sleeved shirt.
This is a military-type overgarment. No label or serial number. This is the kind of rib-knit shirt that's worn over light armor to conceal it.
The rest of the rags are just kitchen variety waste.
All right. We should go to Gart again and ask if he knows who put the clothes in the trash. It could be as simple as someone from the hostel cleaning the yard. Or that one. I'd advise against confronting that force. Not really. All we know is the victim's clothes are in the trash.
The fuck's he on about, kids? You hear that, Kuno? He thinks you're an infant or something.
See?
The lieutenant nods, then looks back into the trash container. It's just organic waste. What's this? A blue piece of plastic sticks out from the apple peels. Something larger. A clipboard. A blue plastic clipboard.
Officer, is that your paperwork? Yes, it is. Look. This plastic has the RCM street grid on it. You've even got an autopsy form. If you don't mind me asking, how did this get in the trash? Well, lucky we found it. You should take stock of what remains, just to be sure some has not made it into the hands of the RCM's adversaries. Organized crime and the like. There might have been police secrets in your notes. It would also not hurt to start taking notes on the case. Now, tell me what your eagle eyes see. Or are we finished?
Some items, such as the ledger you found, are interactable. Go to your inventory and select the...
You pick out a broken mug with an oddly racist depiction of the yellow man, only in its social sensibility. The container sounds a muffled gong.
That's one thing off the list. I think we got it all.
There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots, maybe more than 12. No, 8 pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud. 1. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 46. 2. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 3. Hobnailed work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 43. 4. Standard work boot, number 45 or 46? You don't know. It's a miracle you can tell the prints apart as it is. The cold must have. 5. Another standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 6. An aberration, light as air, even pace, same make of boot, but number 41. Impossible to tell. Could also have been an adolescent. The gate is undeveloped. You're not bad. It's as if the whole world darkens. Everything else has a thin film of unimportance. 7. The glowing outline of a standard work boot, number 46. But the imprints are twice as deep as the others. The weight exceeds 200 kilograms. 8. And yet another standard work boot, number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole, however. The right sole is smoother, more worn.
How many? I was pretty off then. I counted 20. I never got the hang of it. Hyperopia. Do you see anything out of the ordinary? A woman or a kid? Okay. How do...
He knows it's hard to discern sex from a person's gait.
Understood. Anything else? 200? Could it be the combined weight of 2 people, one carrying the other who's tied up?
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
Possibly, yes.
But why?
Yes, they could have used a makeshift stretcher or just march him up to the gallows. Even easier to carry on a stretcher, or between 2 men. Anyway, it's for future consideration. Interesting. Let's name it the odd soul. Someone operating a workbench with a pedal? Like a joiner at the harbor. Or maybe a drummer? No, it's not. Forget I said it. Perhaps it could be a driver. A driver would wear out their right shoe before the left. The accelerator is on the right. We should keep our eyes open around the traffic jam. See whether anyone strikes out as a potential suspect. Seems prudent, no? A week, maybe? 7 days would feed the...
It is not impossible.
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Havashol. 7 days below freezing.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures would preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week.
What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed. They all stood in a row here and looked at the tree. Yes, Everything fit so well. Carried him over, hoisted him up, watched him hang. This is easy. The lieutenant's eyes narrow.
Either way. What else?
Fuck does Kuno care? Pig, do you have any idea how fucking stupid that sounds? Kuno's cruising his bitch on the town, and the bitch comes back griefing to the Kuno. What is up with that?
Get the fuck out of here, fat ass! Those pants are too small for you.
The pants are totally okay. Don't listen to her. She's trying to give you body image problems.
So? Yeah, so? Kuno did sick the pigs on him. Kuno's a man of his word.
Kuno sent your fat ass.
Look, pig. Kuno sent you to rough some people up. Kuno played you. That happened. Now you and Kuno should move on. What is this? Trying to be cool with your new asshole? Kuno was just being nice to you. You got fucked bad. Now limp the fuck out of here. After this shit, you better have something real interesting to say if you want to stay in Kuno's face.
Yeah, real interesting.
Kuno doesn't.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. You should take care of that, then. I'll also take a room at the Whirling. One cannot get much closer to the crime scene.
An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material. It's nothing. Someone just left some roofing material slant. Glad you asked. When junior researcher Olari Tal invented Eternite in the Vatna Polytechnic Institute some 30-odd years ago, he thought it would last forever. Hence the name, Eternite. Sadly, the only lasting thing turned out to be the material's highly carcinogenic effect. Because there's a secret door hidden behind the panels of Eternite. There it is. You see a shabby little door.
What is this, then? A tool shed? Let's investigate.
Be still, my beating heart. It's amphetamine. The lieutenant isn't studying the powder. There's a good vague way to ask where he stands on drug use. Professionally, I mean.
Perhaps not. This is below our pay grade, detective. See that ladder there? It's probably another way into the industrial hub.
Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing ahead. When the wind ruffles the cloak, you can most definitely see a white rectangle on its back.
Yes, it's probably yours. It bears the RCM insignia, and you have a habit of being careless with your equipment. You could probably make the jump. You look like you've done some track and field in your day.
The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the enormous crane towering in the distance. That machine is a Kvalsund 1028.
Is it? Kvalsund makes a lot of heavy equipment, but this is phenomenal, even for them. But I digress. We were focusing on your cloak here. I was under the impression we are on our way to meet the king of this castle under siege, Evrard, one of the people we're interviewing. This way we may be able to get around his henchmen. Or it could be that we are just exploring. The cloak? I do think it's yours, yes. As to whether you should go for it, well, it doesn't seem too dangerous. 2 meter stops.
The cloak looks like a bag of goodies floating in the wind. Who knows what its pockets may hide? Nope, no. That's still too high. What were you thinking? You're not a gymnast. You're a boxer. And you've climbed way too high up here. You could have dived there. Shit. I'm failing you. This wasn't part of our deal.
Hey! What happened? I understand. We can always come back when you are feeling better. It's just a cloak after all.
Hello again, office. See you around.
Hello again, sweetie.
Looks like someone, when the wind ruffles the cloak.
Yes, you could probably make the jump. You look like you've done some track and field in your day.
As you leap in the air, a chilly breeze engulfs you, sharpening your senses. As the concrete floor welcomes you, you realize it's been a while since you felt so alive.
Hell yeah! My climbing might not have been as disco as your jump, but can we still get an aces high?
With your feet firmly planted on the concrete, the noise of the harbor rushes back in.
Yes?
This is the night watch. Listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breather.
If you must. But please hurry.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair.
Why did you take that picture of René? Fine, but let's move. I don't want...
The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. One small box, however, does hold some cheap painkillers. Oh boy, where to start? Elevated risk of dementia? Don't think about that. Quick, think about something else. The imagined dazzle of light overwhelms any list of potential side effects. Any negative thoughts are drowned out by the fantastic blast of disco.
I'm not here to tell you what to do, detective.
You take the painkillers. They are yours now. You stand and exit.
Container, I'll turn you nice and...
The lyrics to this Container song are, the accent is so thick, it's impossible not to.
Container, used to be Wild Pines. Every day. I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on... Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. I was about 10 then. Too old to lose my accent then. People say us Ubies are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you to know that...
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am. So it's easier for
The containers in the yard are... It's like some red infection was... There appear to be cisterns underneath the Union container covers.
Yes, they are hiding it from the inside. All the red containers have the Debarders Union logo on them.
No, not really. Mr. Everett doesn't tell me all the big things. Says I go and tell them to everyone. Oh, I don't know, mister. They say it's some chemicals. Most of them have labels on them, I think. Oh, no trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard is in his office, but Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation for a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Everett telling them to take some time off. No, I don't think they killed anyone. Let's better talk about something else. Titus and his boys do good work. I don't want to...
He probably doesn't know anything anyway. Who in their right mind would tell him?
Yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town. And Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everett is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork. Keep it up, Leo.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, it means a lot, really. Sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much I bust my ass for them here. But you guys are alright. Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. Oh, you want Mr. Everard then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Guys like Mr. Everard and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everard and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school. Oh, Mr. Everard is usually in his office, of course. But he already left for the day. He always leaves around 10 p.m. Bye-bye now.
A large table with 2 huge vacuum-insulated thermal coffee dispensers. You snatch out the red plastic card. It features a black contour of a crane lifting a control panel with several knobs. Marsh. On. Arrête. Off. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. With a surprisingly quiet thunk, the harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. Moving this container, of course. For this purpose,
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
Before you stands a cargo container.
Is this like your thing with that wall again? You do? Because I don't. There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? You just picked one out because you wanted to interact with a cargo container. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to interview the union boss.
You attempt to turn the handle. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions. With no reply, the lock produces a hollow ring of metal. Doesn't sound like there's anything inside the container. You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were... before the cargo container. Why are you even trying to open it?
Because what wasn't an option? Now is not the time to get philosophical.
A rusting control. The crane does not return to its original position. An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. And the machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. The already familiar cold touch. It's unclear whether you act. Sure, why not? Muscle memory is a trick. The already familiar cold touch. It's unclear whether you. Sure. The already familiar cold touch. Your fingers run over the dial pad. 005. That's the dialing code for Revachol. Calling. Calling. Still calling.
Video Revachol, 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10 millimeter.
The voice of a youngster on.
Video Revachol is a 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10 millimeter film for home use. No. Sir, I don't know. It's a video rental. Maybe you called to extend your rental period? Do you need to extend your rental period? If you need any further assistance, you can visit us on the corner of Voyager and Main. I can't help you over the phone. Are we done?
The call is terminated by the other party. On second glance,
It's unfortunate for the Union to just leave their paperwork laying around.
the drawer opens smooth. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two and the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol, Couron, Coal City. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. The drawer slide. The file cabinet stands steady. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics. It appears to be a to-do list. Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everart's plants. Sweep all items on the list have been crossed out.
Everard Clare, probably. The head of the Debarders Union.
The special borscht seems a bit odd in the list. Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special all items on the list. The drawer slides shut. The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. After rifling the pages with the magazine is divided into several sections. Comrade, as you know, but like only 4 issues. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics,
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of...
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of content. This section, you also... Whoa. Bear wrestling. It seems to be part of a new public, according to this extremely credulous, based on the description in this article. He, Sapormat, Sport, Kalazinski, is well into his 3rd decade, as it's quite straightforward. A stand according to the SRVs. This is the SRV we're talking about. If precisely, for too long, drink has been a scourge to the working class.
The Samaran People's Republic? No, I should expect not. Why do you ask? They are quite the spectacle, as I understand. On account of the blood, you see.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. It takes a moment. Why they decided to title this, as you leaf through this, the main feature, the tip-top tournée, is this so-called art. You think you're instead, where to even, so, all of it, basically. Oddly enough, there's no way. Have you ever met anyone under capital? Thus, And at the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750. You see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip Top Tourney is simply the apotheosis of spectacular.
I can imagine. If I had...
You flip back to the front of the... Unsurprisingly, you skim. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, one of the editor. You flip back to the front. Jamais vu. Derealization. Jamais vu. The opposite of déjà vu. Not already seen, but never seen. Everything that should be familiar appears strange and new, like some half-forgotten day in your childhood. Only now. It's clear you like the hard stuff, Brota. Lower intestine, fascism, Brota. Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Yes, them women, men of war. That's what fascism boils down to. The red feminists? No.
Did you know you can forget thoughts? Go to your thought cabinet and forget all about feminism.
Stomach truth. You're having a stomach because you've said the hard things that others won't say. The good things, you've said them many times. Okay, that sounds much better. Traditionalism. You like the sound of that. You're going to keep your views, right? Keep your views, Brota. For the nation. Smart. Best not to mention the women too often. That's why you're the head. And of course you are, Bruta. Of course. The legend found in the trash. A pitiful cabbage of... There's a piece of toilet paper. It's a metaphor. Thank you, waterlogged. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want. Still wet, the toilet paper peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off with your finger and an aluminium block runs the width of the board. The surface is interrupted. It is similar to the RCM watermark.
What? Yes, halogen watermark used for adding information to RCM. It depends. Aside from an anti-counterfeiting stamp, mine has my station number and address.
Maybe yours will have how many cases you've solved.
Any capable light with the right wavelength will do. Yes, RCM vehicles have headlights tuned especially to reveal halogen.
This means you can read the watermarks,
Okay,
while a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand. They're not exactly white. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Work, strife, poverty." It's the middle of March. What do you mean? Is that all? The notebook is annual.
huh? 2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it. 2, that's a lot. I didn't mean to say you are making mistakes, by the way. That was presumptuous of me. That's okay. We all do.
Like a fan of girls, the checkered paper. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. A title, one might say even. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World. Others appear more light-hearted. The guy's on a couch. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one, the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. I pray his loved ones never find out. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain up once all the tasks are accomplished. Sadly, the ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. It will do. Bill, the lieutenant looks at his blue notebook. He is not really saying anything, just standing there, looking at them, absolutely motionless at first, then animated onto the paper with a brash free hand, uncannily similar to the rest of the letters. Inspect the victim, get the body, interview the... It's not exactly poetry. A satisfying slash, things to be done and things already.
No, actually. Any ideas? Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB 41. Why, yes, your precinct number is 41. Every last alphanumeric in the files begins with it. And these are your case files. It's safe to say HDB are your initials. That is improbable. It takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, cause of failure, rent too high. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes. True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, people call it that. The graffito crew is easy to track down. The case files do not show you finding the author of the crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villa Lobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it, turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us. Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done? AKA Leslie and Burke. AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. The only way for Leslie to stop flashing his genitals to bypassers and for Burke to stop. You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun? Can you keep yourself off the threatening fines? It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant, good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. He must have it confused with, in the process, the ledger. He came at us, and at us, can't get out of his, which is also why the officer responsible. Not much has changed. The acidic state, you know, like the bits they put into public piss bowls. Your nose does not understand. It's made of dark, something rattles inside, and something small inside, permeables. The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but with your hands, you've in the back, you then rip them 3. The top, you don't have to be in a monetary piece, but they appear. These are quite small in a print, a dozen pages of, yes, all that remains now is to fill those full. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched, the slides snap without resistance. 2 ticket stubs and 2 octopuses are thin wax paper. It smells exactly like the gum wrapper you found. Familiar handwriting. A young woman in her 20s. There is care. Harry, it begins. Your hand shakes, holding the card. Every step I take, it grows. By the time I reach the fuel station, you, every step I take will get lighter. It kisses, kisses, kisses. You feel the air sucked out of your lungs and the blood sucked out of your head. Sparks fall like snow. You feel the ledger slip from your hand. No, hold on. To what? There's nothing.
Detective, is everything all right?
There is nothing, again. Nothing sad, brother. No treachery, just blackout. Well, almost nothing. That's me, Blue Eyes. Who was what?
He speaks of the sickening longing, the unwell emotion.
The call when you're dead.
Here in the paleo-mammalian court, because it's always there.
Tell him.
Ah, yes. In the olfactory system, they call it the apricot chewing gum scented one.
Yeah, man. Fuck everything. Total blackout for bloated corpse of the past resurfacing. Don't prod at it. There is no Voyager road. Yeah, man. What was that about? You think they would let you?
Yes. They're pouring something on you.
It's delicious. Glowing lights on a dashboard emerge out of nothingness. In the upholstered cabin of Lieutenant Kitsuragi's motor carriage, seated in the
drink. Water.
The water is cold, silvery, the stuff of life itself as it pours down your parched throat.
Drink. You haven't drunk water in 2 days. Did you know the human body is not made to survive on alcohol alone?
With greedy gulps, you down half a liter of cold water. Some of it spills on the...
What happened? You were reading your paperwork. Then you passed out. I carried you to my kinema to take you to a hospital. 10 minutes, maybe. That does sometimes happen.
He replies with such understanding, it's as if the burnt-out ruins of the past were an occupational hazard.
You dropped these. Are you okay to proceed? Good.
The Ledger of Failure and Hatred is a special item that can be used both as an interactable and a tool equipped in your held slot for skill bonuses.
Actual art degree. Trite, contrived, mediocre, milquetoast, amateurish, infantile, cliché and gonorrhea-ridden peon to conformism. I fucked me. Affront to humanity. War crime. Should literally be tried for war crimes. Resolutely shit. Lacking in imagination. Uninformed reimagining of. Lip-wristed. Premature. Ill-informed attempt at. Talentless fuckfest. Recidivistic shit peddler. Pedantic. Listless. Savagely boring. Just one repulsive laugh after another.
Can I help you? Thanks. I hope you found what you were looking for. How strange. I certainly didn't put them there. Sylvie had the keys before I got here, and I can vouch for her. I can vouch for all my stuff. I think fugue states are more your forte, officer. The trash collection service, CS Municipal.
Ah, the elusive CS Municipal. I doubt we'll be able to track down who was sent here last and when. This will have to be one of those little threats that solves itself down the road. Thank you anyway.
Yes? Can I help? Yes. Have you got it? Well? Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow. I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock automatically at 9 p.m. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your Copo type. Yes. Guess what's yours? Yes, sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then, shall we? What? Jealous of the sorry cop? I think they'll be fine. They'll be super, super fine. It'll be totally okay. You can dual Copo type from sorry to anything. Oh, you know, Apocalypse, Superstellar, the advanced interesting cop, liquid shadow cop. But no you don't. Come on, you'll be back to saying sorry in 2 minutes. Of course you are. It's okay. See if you can... That won't happen. This is the door to the room you...
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment.
Now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights, our jurisdiction, basically. I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes.
Oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
I apologize, but I only brought one with me. I have exactly one cigarette every night while going over my notes. You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will.
Yet, were he to quit, he would lose the cool factor.
Yes. It's been a long and eventful day. Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's good. I would say our initial inspection was very thorough. Then you shot the body down, which was quite a shot. I admit I wasn't sure whether I should give you the gun, but I'm glad I did. We still have to perform the autopsy, though. But we did do a thorough search of the crime scene. Now, as for interviews, my list of people to talk to here in Martinez, I mean. I'm glad we can agree on that. We didn't get to meet Evrard Claire, but we did get into the harbor. It'll be easier to reach him tomorrow. We tried to interview the White Palms rep, but she asked us to do something for her first. Fine, so be it. I have a feeling Joyce knows how dangerous the situation really is. We have to get her to talk to us.
If Kim is emphasizing something with this man...
Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice? It's impressive, especially for a man your age. And in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Ravachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local officers of the RCM have been known to take. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economy. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station coldly. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. We are permitted to use whatever force we deem necessary. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone, which is for the best. Yes, the last time was 4 years ago.
He has internalized it well. It's just that. A fact.
That's an improbability. Perhaps even impossibility. Precinct 41 is known for a higher than average rate of police violence. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Courant and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. The coalition government and the moral intern. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Ravachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Be sentimental if you like. Either way, the moral intern leases us the right to keep the peace in this city, and they will take it away if we misuse it.
Or if they think you do.
The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its main... What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just taking crack.
Those others say they continue the...
Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from...
Something kind and usual. Something almost self-explanatory. Something like the dark blue, serious color of the early night sky above.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts. And do you? In fact, we would need them even if you didn't think that way. We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Then you will adore Martinez. For many of these people, the Union especially, vigilantes is precisely what we are. Personally, I don't enjoy it much.
The dying lights of an aerostatic passes overhead, the whiskers of its floodlights on the ground below.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different inland, in Jamrock and the GRIH. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. It's like I told you, this place is an orphan, fallen between the cracks. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. Me too. But I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes.
He is very tired, but the dark circles under his eyes make him look younger, not older.
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. The faucet is quite terribly mangled, but you handle the chain cutters deft. Told you that you needed those. The mirror begins to clear slowly without you having to wipe it. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's too late. Like an image on film. The bed is cold and not particular. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep. And then sleep doesn't come. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has smells of alcohol and it barely covers your toes. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union, your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? You're not kidding anyone, Harry. You don't remember shit. Tell me, do you remember your wife's hand on your face? You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets, wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's come. Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs? between her legs and in her mouth. Oh no, funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left. Or you just stood there with one hand on the... Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Easel. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you No, Harry. You were just talking to yourself. That's all you ever do. Even in your dreams. And the actor's wearing Finn. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time.
Stinky boy.
You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of you. You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Oh, just a dream. You have ones like that all the time. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? That's not really true. Your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday, despite your debilitating hangover. How else did you think you even got up from this floor? It's power, man. It's professionalism. It makes you feel like you're young again. And are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest, 2 weeks, maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. Fast recovery, man. Quick turnaround. Super detective back in action.